You know, Winnipeg has never been the safest city, but it seems to me that it's getting a lot worse, and crime is increasing. Lots more random assaults, burglaries, thefts, etc. are all on the rise. Meth is increasing, the amount of people using it and going on violent rampages, attacking the police with machetes or weapons, whatnot, or just regular people. Like it's getting out of hand. And I was just reading an article today or yesterday, and sure enough, the kid that was shot, I know, and that kid is the older brother of my niece. And I don't have any relation to that kid specifically, and I didn't really know him, but that is the older brother of my niece, whom I love a lot. And I know what it's like to lose a brother, and it's not pleasant. And at least I lost mine through medical reasons and not with a shooting, not with some stupid altercation that could have been prevented. But all of this stuff is preventable a lot of the times, and it all starts at the home. It all starts with neglecting kids, with not raising your kids properly. I could have told you this was going to happen eventually. It was just a matter of time. And thank God my niece is no longer with that woman and under her care, and is being taken care of by my brother and my family and stuff, because that being with these types of people, she would go down the same road that all of those people have gone down. And it's unfortunate. Now that kid is dead. Now her older brother is dead. Now she's going to have to deal with that. I'm going to try to be there for her to make sure she's okay, but she's a young girl. She's like 7 years old. Now you're going to tell her older brother is gone, is dead. That's it's a lot for a little kid to handle, and that girl, she's been through a lot in her life already, right? And it's horrible. And it disgusts me, the lack of, you know, just care that people have for their own kids and stuff, and how they just care more about satiating their own addictions than actually watching and being a fucking parent. And this is one of the reasons why I'm against socialism. I'm against all this stuff because I see it in my own life day in and day out. And I see the effects. I see the degeneracy that it produces. This woman, the mother of my niece, has kids from all these different fathers, right? All of her kids are mixed in all different races, for all different dads and stuff. It's not one person is still there. The only family that was really involved with her was my family. The white people who actually came in, gave a shit, try to give her money, try to help her out and whatnot, but still, no, fuck you people. Still treat us like shit, and then treating her kids like shit, not being around for them, being drugged up, whoring themselves out on Backpage and on all this other stuff, right? What kind of example is that for your fucking kids? And then, now one of your kids is dead, is shot. One of our other kids was involved in some of the biggest heists in Winnipeg here for car thefts when her daughter was like 16 and shit, with her and her friends, like stealing cars like crazy. And then I think her son was probably selling crack or something. And kids do not have a chance in that household. And it starts by letting people suffer from the consequences of their actions. This woman, I heard her once say that her job is to be a mother, is to be paid by the government. And people, they expect these kids to be raised right, to grow up like upstanding citizens. No, they don't have a fucking shot and you got all these people around them ignoring it, not raising alarms, for kids like this growing up in these situations, not trying to get them out, leaving them in there. And we wonder why society is fucked. It all starts really at the home. It starts with taking care of your fucking kids, being there for your kids. Don't put them in front of the television so you can go on Facebook and chat with your old fucking friends. Go talk to them. Be in their lives. Your kids should not be stealing cars, selling drugs at 16 years old, doing all this shit. But that's what happens. And it's the government a lot of the times helping, enabling this type of behavior. And obviously it's her and her decisions. And, we can't keep making excuses for women and stuff and being, it's this and that. It's not here. Take some money. Go. Take care of your kids. But really, they're not using any of that money on their kids. A lot of the times, they just buy drugs with that shit. That's all they do. And all the medication you give to these people through the government, they sell that on the streets, for more money. So they can buy other drugs, cheaper drugs, and more of them. But this is sad, and I didn't want to have to learn of this through reading the fucking newspaper and being like, oh, I know those people. Oh, I know that kid. Oh, he's dead now. Oh, now my niece is going to be going through that. Now I have to try to help her through that, and which I will, because that's a horrible thing to have to go through at such a young age. But we got all these enablers around us in society, enabling all these bad behaviors. My parents did the same thing, right? They enabled my brother. He's always been a fuck up, and then they just keep bailing him out, and then people they wonder why they're never changing, why they're never growing up to be adults, because you're holding their hands the entire time. You're not letting them fail and suffer from the consequences. And then this is what happens, right? Now this family is going to be completely destroyed, which it already was, because of her mom and just the degenerate behavior that she does. My little niece, she was afraid. She would call the cops, 911, at 4 or 5 years old, because she'd find her mom not moving and stuff in her bed, and little girl, she's worried her mom's gonna die, and then she's calling 911, doing this often. It disgusts me. And yes, it is, like I said, the government which is creating incentives for people, but we all have freedom of will. We all have free choice. We all have the ability to pick ourselves up and to say no, and to not do these drugs, to not go down this path, to not whore yourself out on Backpage or whatever. We can make this choice. Stop taking choice away from people and making excuses for them, because you're not helping them. You're going to keep them in this situation they are in. You need to empower people by letting them know that they have control over their lives and their future, and that they're not a circumstance of their history and of their past. And their past does not just define them, because that's just an easy way out for people. Oh, I had a bad childhood. Oh, my parents did this. This gives me an excuse to be a degenerate, a drug addict, a piece of shit, horrible person. Well, I'm not a determinist. I believe in free will. I believe that you can change, and it's not just, just the wind blowing the way it goes. I can't do anything about it. No, you can. And if you don't, these types of things will happen. Your kids will get into drugs, will become prostitutes, will be shot, will be killed. If you don't fucking get involved in their lives, if you start being an example instead of being a succubus onto the system, because that's all they see. Of course, they're going to grow up thinking the government's supposed to pay them when that's all they ever see from their mom and their parents. And, it's disgusting. And, I hope the things start to change a little bit in Winnipeg, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Why would it? What incentive is there for things to change? We're all still giving money to single mothers. We're all still importing a bunch of foreigners whom we don't know anything about through the border, letting them in illegally. A lot of them probably criminals. We're not doing anything. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. But at least something that you can do yourself is be involved in your kids' lives. Talk to your kids. Don't neglect them. They remember a lot. They see a lot. They remember what you say to them more so than what you remember, right? Like, you may say something to your kids flippantly and you don't think much of it, but that could stick with them for the rest of their lives and impact them in a way they think and act for the rest of their lives. So, it does start at the home, and people need to start taking responsibility for their actions. Start paying attention to your children, because they are the future. And if you want a society that's going to be good, that's going to be peaceful, that's going to be a good place to live, then you have to start by teaching your kids to be good people, to create that type of society. But that's all I pretty much had to say, guys. If you like my content, subscribe. And also, I'm doing a stream tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central, the Canadian Roundtable. I'll probably have a couple guests on, maybe Joe Haze, maybe Rance, Derek. We'll see. But yeah, come check it out at 8:30. But like I said, that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe. Take it easy.